Pictured here we have the presynaptic neuron on the right and the postsynaptic neuron on the left. Also an enlarged diagram of the synapse in the top right corner. Here we have the soma, or the cell body, which controls the substances needed for growth. The soma also contains the nucleus. Connected to the soma are the dendrites, which acts as a listener and receives messages and input from other neurons. The dendritic spine stores input from a single axon at the synapse and helps send electrical signals to the soma. The axon directs information to other cells away from the cell body. The nodes of Ranvier is the gap between the axon and the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is a fatty tissue connecting the soma to the axon and increases velocity and conduction of action potential. The axon terminal contains sacs that store neurotransmitters. The synaptic gap is the space between the axon of a neuron and the dendrite of another. The presynaptic neuron delivers the message across the synapse to the postsynaptic neuron. The synaptic vesicle within the synapse holds the neurotransmitters, which are the chemical substances that transmit information between neurons. The receptor site is where neurotransmitters bind for the transmission of information.
When there's a positive electrical charge that flows down the axon, which is when the neurotransmitters are released from their synaptic vesicles. The all or nothing is when the impulse reaches its threshold and fires down the axon without slowing down. Depolarization is when the impulse opens the ion channels and the neurotransmitters are released through the pumps. Resting potential is when the resting state of the neuron isn't transmitting information, and the reuptake is when some neurotransmitters aren't received by the next neuron. And this right here is where the presynaptic neuron and the postsynaptic neuron meet up, and this synapse right here is enlarged to greater scale right there.